You are calling for Attorney General Eric Holder to resign, but today I'm sure you heard the president say that he has complete confidence in Holder and the way he's running his department. You think he's going to resign anytime soon?
I don't think he's going to resign, but I think it's time for the American people to start asking for the resignation. I think it's unconscionable that the Attorney General of the United States came to Congress and was ill-prepared to answer questions. It looks like he may have lied or at a minimum may have been just not prepared to talk to Congress and didn't have all the right information. And all the evidence shows that he knew about Fast and Furious, that he had evidence about Fast and Furious, and it was his job and his responsibility to actually find out.
And Congressman, let's say he didn't even perjure himself. The fact that he admits, his staff admits, he doesn't read his memos. Are they trying to say he didn't know that Border Patrol Agent Brian Terry was killed, possibly with one of the guns linked to this operation? If he didn't know these things, who's running the ship?
And that's the question. So he either lied or he was grossly incompetent. So he doesn't read his memos. He comes to Congress ill-prepared, and now we have to have we want to. The president is saying that he actually has full confidence in him. This is outrageous and preposterous, and it's time for somebody to take responsibility for the death of Agent Terry. We had his family testify before the Oversight Committee.
Yes.
It was some of the most heart-wrenching testimony I have had while I've been here in Congress, to listen to them and what they have gone through. And somebody needs to pay the price for this.
Really, and I thought it was very interesting. I was reading a press release today that you say you first learned about Fast and Furious early this year from several of your constituents. So don't you find it hard to believe that the Attorney General didn't know about it sooner than that?
That's what's amazing. It was probably our, early on, I can't remember exactly what week, but it was one of our first weeks here in Congress. And as you know, Chuck Grassley had been doing a tremendous job in the Senate trying to get people to pay attention to this. And my constituents started sending me letters. So I asked the Oversight Committee to start looking at this. And we started looking at it, and we keep finding out more and more information. And the question is, how far did it go? Did the president know about this? What other departments were involved in this?
And that's a good point, because, again, today, President Obama repeated the fact that he didn't know about it, that Holder didn't know about it. So who's covering for who?
Exactly. So that's what we have to figure out, what's going on. But I think it's incumbent upon the Attorney General to take responsibility. At a minimum, he should come to Congress and explain why he lied to that committee. He's not going to do that. We know he's not going to do that. So I think it's time for him to resign.
And I think there's a lot of other people that feel the same way you do. And, I know there's calls for a special prosecutor. But, again, Obama gave no indication today that he plans to appoint one.
Exactly. That would be like Eric Holder appointing one on himself.
And that ain't going to happen either.
Exactly.
But I've got to ask you, when you look at this whole operation, do you have any doubt that the real motive behind it was about pushing an anti-gun agenda?
That's the real question. And I don't know that we're ever going to have the smoking gun, no pun intended, but it's going to be interesting to see, because there was an agenda behind this. There was something that they were trying to accomplish. They were doing this in secret ways, and the question is, what were they trying to accomplish? Because they weren't prosecuting anybody. They weren't following the guns. They weren't doing anything with it. So what was their intention with this program?
And when you look at it, it was all going on at the same time that here you've got the Obama administration pushing this 90% myth.
Absolutely. And in fact, somebody in the administration, I wish I could recall who it was this week, actually started talking about the gun violence that happens with guns. Just this week, they were talking about it, that happens with guns that are purchased in the United States. So it is definitely questionable what they were doing with this program.
What kind of reaction have you gotten from your call for his resignation?
It's been very positive. I think people say it's about time that somebody asked for it. And I believe as more and more information, you're going to see more and more members of Congress asking for his resignation. And the question is going to be whether Holder will actually come to Congress and answer for the questions that for the answer to the committees why he was less than honest in his responses. And I don't think he will, but it's going to be interesting to see, because then I think you will see entire committees standing up and saying it's time for this man to go.
So you guys plan to call him back, no doubt.
Absolutely. I think if you look, I believe that Chairman Issa already has. Chairman Issa has done a terrific job with this investigation, and I believe that they have already asked for him to come back and testify.
Mm-hmm. Well, that'll be very interesting to see if he shows up.
Yes, it will.
Alrighty, thanks so much for taking the time, and thanks for doing what you're doing on all of this. I mean, it's like a freight train. It changes every day.
Yes, it does. Thank you very much.
Alrighty, thanks, Congressman.